Good evening. At this time, I'd like to call to order the Capital Improvement Board meeting held on Tuesday, August 27th at 5:30. Christina, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Shipley?
Here.
Mr. Blust?
Here.
Mrs. Hartman? Here. Mr. Haddix?
Here.
And Mr. Patel?
Here.
Okay. There is no audience participation, so we're going to go to swearing in. Mark, why don't you come down with me first? Cheat sheet. Ask you to no, this is,
Oh, so this is it? Okay.
here's yours. Okay. Well, raise your right hand. Okay. I state your name.
I, Mark Haddix,
Do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
that I will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Charter, ordinances, and resolutions of the City of Twinsburg,
the Charter, ordinances, and the resolutions of the City of Twinsburg, Ohio,
thank you, and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge
and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge
the duties as a member of the Capital Improvement Board
the duties as a member of the Capital Improvement Board
to the best of my abilities as I shall answer to God.
to the best of my abilities as I shall answer to God.
Congratulations, you are now sworn in. Please sign here. You get to keep a copy and we keep a copy. Christine. Thank you, thank you. Let me get the cheat sheet. So,
I, Kristen Hartman, I swear that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio, the Charter, ordinances, and resolutions of the City of Twinsburg, Ohio, and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties as a member of the Capital Improvement Board to the best of my ability as I shall answer.
congratulations, you are now a member of the Capital Improvement Board. Would you please sign both of these and you keep one? Please. Sorry. All right. Take your seat. Take it right in there. Okay, next on our agenda is the election of a chairperson. So there are 5 board members amongst you. One of you needs to run the meeting. So does anybody have a nomination for one of the existing board members to be the chairman?
I nominate John.
Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second.
Kristen seconds. John, would you be willing to be the chairman of the Capital Improvement Board?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay.
You happy with
John, you're running the meeting. Okay. If you need help, I'm right here.
Sounds good.
So the next action you would take is make a motion to approve the minutes from the 19 meeting.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the September 19th, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion, first motion?
Will there be a second?
I second it.
Karen seconds.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right. The next on the agenda is to review the 2024 capital requests.
Okay.
All right, good evening, everyone. For those members who don't know me, I'm Christina Conway. I'm the Finance Director for the City of Twinsburg. I've been in this role for a little over a year, so this is my second Capital Improvements Board. So just to kind of run through 2024 requests quickly, or I guess let's run through how the board is going to operate. So we're going to meet tonight with a few department heads, and then we're going to have 2 more meetings with other departments who have made capital requests that need to come through the CIB board for approval. So there's just a timeline of how we're going to run those meetings. The September 17th meeting is going to be an overview of all the capital requests, and that is when the board members will vote. So you have a say-so in what capital the city spends its money on. And then at September 24th meeting, Capital Improvement Board will come to the Finance Committee meeting and present their recommendations to the Finance Committee, which will then be incorporated into the annual budget, which we pass in December. So capital requests are comprised of various items. They could be vehicles, it could be infrastructure, it could be building improvements. We classify our capital into several different funds here. We have special revenue funds, which usually consist of infrastructure projects that the city engineer does. We have enterprise funds. Enterprise funds are supposed to operate like a business. So we have the fitness center, the golf course, and our wastewater treatment facility are our enterprise funds. The goal for those is you're supposed to have cost recovery methods, so your revenue should exceed your expenditures. And then we also have a special levy fund, which is our police and fire levy fund, which was put on the ballot in 2021. It is a property tax levy, and that money goes solely to police and fire. It pays for their pensions, and it also pays for any capital needs that those two departments might have. So in 2024, our capital requests were broken down as follows. We had $8.8 million of infrastructure projects. That includes road program projects, sewer repairs, sanitary and storm sewer repairs, general capital improvement projects, which is our 820 fund, which is kind of like a catch-all fund. We have $2.2 million in projects. The police and fire levy fund, we have a little under $1 million in projects, and those enterprise funds had about $425,000 in projects. So everyone likes to see where their money is put to good use. So we'll just go through a couple of the things that have been purchased and put into use so far this year. The service department has a new ball field groomer. This helps out the Parks and Recreation Department to help get all of the baseball fields ready for the baseball and softball teams. There is a new chipper that was put into service this year, again for the service department, and a water trailer. So when you see all of those nice flowers up and down Ravenna Road and down McTarrian, the new water trailer really helps out to get all of those things maintained in a timely fashion. We also have a towable leaf machine for the service department, and the wastewater department had a necessary purchase for a sludge hauling truck. So we take all of the sludge that is hauled from or produced from the wastewater treatment plant, and that gets transported to I don't want to call it a landfill, but a sludge field further south in Ohio. One of the biggest projects that the city had applied for a grant for the Glen Chamberlain Park. So that was probably our largest project this year, most time consuming, most visible to the public. So I've just included some before and after pictures. So this is the playground at Glen Chamberlain Park before, and here's the new playground. It is open, it is handicap accessible, which the old park was not. This was paid for through grant funds through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and that was also in conjunction with replacing the restrooms. So there's a before and after picture of the restrooms as well, which are almost completed. And that went along with the part of the amphitheater area that was, for Rock the Park.
I have a question here.
Yeah, sure.
There's more than one park in the city of Twinsburg. So there's one that's near me on Sharon Brook. Are you doing anything with that? It's just a small park.
That would be a question for Jen. We do not have it on our capital for 2025.
Oh, please do. It wasn't on there for 2024 either, and it's not looking good.
Is that a city-owned park or, okay.
Jen?
2023, we went and evaluated all the parks. There are 17 in the city. We can't replace all 17 of them at once. We have to replace them in phases. This year, or 2024, we did Glen Chamberlain because of the grant. We are doing East Idlewood in 2025. Those playgrounds are now slated as they deteriorate. If they're replaceable, if they're obsolete, and things like that. There's many, many factors. So right now, we're reevaluating the program to see where everything fits and what is going to go into those spaces.
Would you need a grant to clean it up? You know,
To
the
clean
one-
it up or
Yeah,
to replace
well,
it?
to replace it.
It's not necessarily about grant. We're always looking for grant funding. I will never stop looking for grant funding for anything. It's about where does that fit in the rest of the playgrounds in the city? Where does that fall on the list?
Okay.
Unfortunately, everybody has their version of what needs to be replaced and when it needs to be replaced. But it is on the radar, and we are looking at all of our playgrounds.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. The fire department has recently put 2 new ambulances into its arsenal. These were purchases that were approved several years ago. However, due to COVID and the build-out timeline, we just received them earlier this year. Fire department is all about their nice pictures, and they took some really good ones of the ambulances. Additionally, I don't have any pictures of them yet because they're not upfitted, but the police department just received 6 new Chevy Tahoes. We also purchased 1 Dodge Charger. That is part of our vehicle fleet replacement, so that's a 3-year purchase, lease to own pretty much for the police department. There are several other projects that are still underway. Unfortunately, a lot of the things like, police women's restroom build out, not the most, fun pictures. So I wanted to include the, the things that are more visible for residents to see. And like I said, if we had the upfit for the police vehicles done, I would have absolutely included pictures, but you can probably see those Tahoes parked out in the parking lot right now. So I'm going to work in conjunction with Jen Bettinson to go over the capital request for the Parks and Recreation, Seniors, and the Fitness Center. She will be our first presenter tonight.
Good evening. So the biggest thing under Parks and Recreation this year is going to be the Glen Chamberlain Shelter Bridge Sensory Playground. So the slide that she has up there, the city was approached by Congresswoman Sykes' office to apply for a HUD grant. We did so very, very quickly. We had a tight turnaround of about 5 days. So we put this project together. It's a $938,000 project. It includes both shelters, the bridge, the observation deck, and then a new sensory playground that's going to remove some of that old aging swing sets and monkey bar equipment, and then add some recycling or some recycled containers, some recycled benches and things like that. If the grant is not funded, we're going to break that up into phases and still do the project. So that project could come in at the 938 and we'll do the same, all of it, or we will break it up into phases, and that first phase will be the bridge and the observation deck.
So if the city does receive the grant, it is a reimbursement-based grant. So we would have to pay for the project, and then we would get the reimbursement from Housing and Urban Development. I don't want to say worst-case scenario, but the maximum cost scenario is $938,000. That's if the grant is received. If it's not, the cost would be broken down into phases. The first phase would be around $188,000. We will not, unfortunately, know whether we receive the grant until fourth quarter of 2024. So it's a little in the air of what we, so if you do approve it, again, least case scenario is around $200,000. Worst case scenario, $940,000.
Any questions about that one? All right, so the next set is the water park. So the water park is aging. We have a security system upgrade that we're proposing. We have a pool heater that we need to have replaced, and then water park furniture. So those are the 3 projects that were slated for the water park for 2025. The water park heater is original. It is coming to its end of life and does need to be replaced. The security system is important because we are now only able to capture still pictures. We have no motion video. It is aging. IT can give you, when they come up in a little bit, they can give you more on that if you need more information on that. So that's where we are at with the water park.
Do you know how many cameras are there? Just
I believe there's 12.
12? Okay. Is that an estimate from your team, or is it like an actual quote we have?
No, we actually have a quote now.
Quote?
And we're actually reducing the number of cameras, but we'll actually have more views.
No, of course.
I can go into more detail.
Nice. Just my experience. No, I'm not sure what kind of cameras are those, but that's a very hefty ticket for 12 cameras. Again, personal experience. And I've purchased some good cameras for commercial spaces. 360 degrees, audios, videos, like I said, top the line. I don't know how long they will last, and because these are small commercial spaces. Now these are outdoors, so maybe a little expensive, but 22 for 12 cameras is it's very high.
Is that an
Again.
installation fee included?
Zach?
Thank you, because we need to have you on the record anyway.
Hi, guys. Zach Brand. I'm in the IT department for the city of Twinsburg. So the reason why we are upgrading the cameras, like Jen was saying, is because the images now are still, we can't really get much playback out of them, but we can export video. The reason why the price is a little higher is we have Motorola cameras that are Visualon, so we actually have them throughout the whole city. So that's a camera server. It's, I believe we're actually only getting 10 cameras, but they're multi-view. So you're actually getting about 24. We're going to put in a wireless bridge, which then gets the back portion of the pool area. And then we're also putting an access control for where the pool chemical room is. So you have to put a wireless bridge in. That does cost a little bit of money. And we are able to use the pre-existing wiring that all the cameras are using now, but we're also adding a couple views that we don't have views currently. We did do a redshift project a couple years ago with the whole city. So that was access control, cameras, I'm trying to think what else, fire alarm as well. And the water park was not included because we did not have Johnson Control cameras at the time there. So we just want to incorporate so that way our dispatch center, Jen, Michelle, are able to review stuff for admin purposes. And then the other thing is it has AI built in, so if there's someone overnight, let's just say swimming, breaks into the pool, our dispatch center would know. I'm trying to think what else. Is there any other kind of
No,
questions
I mean,
you guys have?
yeah.
But yeah, that's really the
I think you
gist
mentioned
of it.
the
Yeah.
reason it's expensive because you want to integrate with the current system pretty
Yeah,
much, and
so-
that's a big factor.
and you- yeah,
That's
so
why it's
sorry.
expensive.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you buy Linux, like I said,
No, I know.
7,
I know.
8, 9 grand would be
we've
enough for
been-
12 cameras.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Is it normal practice to get multiple quotes on?
Well, we didn't do that because we have a great relationship with our vendor currently, and we want to integrate what we have with Visualon. I've never actually tried to go with a different dealer per se, but they're very responsive. They're actually out of Middleburg Heights, so they're local. They're very responsive. They actually have a lot of our officers use them at the school too, so we have a good standing relationship. So, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
And just a note on the water park furniture, that was an item that was on the 2024 capital list that was removed. We did try to just purchase some, I don't want to say generic, but some lower quality products just to kind of make do, and obviously that did not pan out so well. Being outdoor furniture, you're used to all of the elements, so we need to replace the large umbrellas that are, 6 feet across?
Yeah, so we're trying to make do, plus our capacity is increasing. So these chairs, as they're breaking, we're not able to replace them as quickly because we can't keep replacing them year after year with stuff that's not commercial grade. So this will be able to take care of that for a little bit.
Any other questions on water park?
Jen, is, excuse me, the umbrellas, is that like the big overhead canopies, or you're talking the large
These are just
umbrellas
umbrellas, those are not the
you
shade.
put up?
Yeah.
How much seating do you have up there now?
How many chairs do we have? We have about 150 chairs, but not all of them are functioning and usable. So this will just replace it in phases.
Got it.
These are the worst of the worst right now.
So we're throwing away the worst 30 chairs and buying 30 new chairs?
And 12
Because at the
umbrellas.
cost of these commercial chairs, it would be a very escalated cost to replace all of them at once. So our team does a really good job of being able to phase things in and out.
So you said that the last chairs only made it 1 year?
They made it 2.
2. Do these have a projected life frame or no?
These are about 5 to 8 years, depending on how, those were just commercial grade chairs that we bought the last time.
The one we have right now, they're really comfortable, I must say.
The ones that aren't broke.
I'm not, I had a really good one, and I enjoyed them.
All right, Sharon, it's all good.
All right, so the next thing is the study and design service for the amphitheater structure. As Christina mentioned, we did undergo a major renovation at the park this year, and the next phase of that is the structure that actually covers the bands when we are having the concerts. The canopy is outliving its life, and so we need to really look at the structure and see how we can reconfigure while utilizing the new space that we have. We did gain about 150 to 200 spots by expanding lower, but there's no vantage point into the stage now, so we want to be able to remove that canopy, twist it, and shift it just a little bit. So that's what this money is for, is to do a study to see what does need to be done.
But you don't plan on replacing it with another canopy? You're looking for
A solid
awesome
structure,
type,
yeah. If you've been to Menor or if you've been to Broadview Heights, they have the solid structures, open sides with just the top and the back on. That's what we're looking to add to ours.
You also need rooms for the bands because you've lost the ability to use trailers.
Yeah, so this year we lost the approvals to get the trailer, so we were shuttling the bands back and forth between the venue and our building. We'd like to be able to add a room that has that plus the sound in it, so that that sound canopy is no longer in the middle, they'll be behind and next to the stage. Any questions?
All right. So, community center flooring replacement. We recently had some water issues at the senior center, which caused buckling of the floors. We do have a current insurance claim for it, that insurance is covering it. It was the goal to replace all of the flooring at once. However, only the senior center area was damaged. So the goal for next year is to, or the desire for next year is to match the remainder of the community center flooring to the current new senior center flooring that is going in. The estimated cost for the remainder, which is the community center and the meeting rooms, is $45,000. The damage to the senior center flooring, I think, was $21,000 that insurance is covering. So while this project was going to be for the total amount for 2025, a portion of it will be covered for this year. So the hope is to have this approved for next year so that it's continuous flooring throughout the entire center and there's continuity.
Questions? Okay.
You want to do the wheelchair?
So the last thing on the Parks and Recreation senior side is the senior wheelchair van. We are looking to replace a 12-seat wheelchair accessible van. It is aged itself out and some wear and tear because we do service approximately 500 to 600 transports a month, and we need to be able to do the wheelchair accessible van. This year we're replacing a sedan. Next year it would be the wheelchair accessible van.
This van holds 12 wheelchairs?
Holds 12 people. It will hold up to 3 wheelchairs. But this one actually has the lift for the wheelchairs.
So if you're a senior and you need a ride to the hospital or to a doctor's appointment or something, is it 15 miles or what's 10 miles within the city? The city will pick you up and drop you off.
Good to know.
Okay, so the exercise equipment is not really an item that anyone gets to vote on because that was already a pre-approved item, but we do put it on there just for everyone's informational purposes. So next year will be the third payment of 5 total payments for the exercise equipment lease at the fitness center. The annual cost is a little over $30,000.
At the end of the lease, we own the equipment, correct?
Correct.
So we rotate equipment, and we just like we do with police cars, we lease them, but there's, the fee goes into the capital, gets paid every year out of the capital, but we've already signed the 5-year contract. But just like the cars, we own the equipment at the end, we can trade it back in, or we can keep it and add other things in the future.
And this is the second round of leasing equipment that we have done.
Any questions on exercise equipment? All right. So the Diamond Bright coating for the indoor pool. So this was an item that was on 2024, but the cost has escalated significantly. The estimated cost that we had for 2024 was $50,000, and that was to do a portion of the pool. We went back, for those who don't know, Diamond Bright is the plaster coating that goes on the pool. It prevents it from, rusting, any type of wear and tear, and it usually lasts anywhere between 8 and 15 years. The Diamond Bright coat, do you remember when the last time, has it ever been done, or?
It's been 15 years.
So it's very much at the end of its useful life. The cost of the project is estimated at around $280,000. So it obviously will need to be competitively bid. And the hope is that when the pool pack project, which you will hear about next, is under construction, that the Diamond Bright will be done at the same time. That way there's no interruption to the indoor pool any longer than will be needed. You don't want to have to do a project on the roof and then have the pool shut down and then shut down the pool again to do the Diamond Bright. So the hope is that it can all be done at the same time to, lessen the effects of the indoor pool being closed. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Okay, so pool pack project, this has been an ongoing project since the day that I started last year, so it was well in talks before I started here, but it's actually on council's agenda to accept tonight. The bid is being awarded at a little over $2 million. We are issuing a note for this project because the fitness center is an enterprise fund. We will be expected to pay back their debt payments. So the note issuance will actually be for a little bit more than what the bid is to cover the cost of KeyBank issuing a note for us. The current annual debt estimate is going to be around $120,000, but that could increase based on the interest rate that we receive. The city also does have a cost-sharing agreement with the school district because the schools utilize the fitness center or utilize the pool area for swim team, things like that.
For their phys ed classes, trainings, and things like that.
So we do have, the school will be supporting a little bit up.
29%?
28?
27.
27%.
Right in that range.
26?
And that tell you, that's the largest
Anyone have 25?
amount of money that the schools have ever, in the 20 years that we've had the high school. The mayor's done a really nice job of working with schools to bring them up to speed on the contract that was in place.
So, again, this is, I guess for edification purposes, this is a very large purchase. Council is going to be making the decision on it tonight, so it really takes it out of your hands. You don't have to worry about it. Again, this is a community-wide project that's been going on for many years, and unfortunately, if the dehumidification were to cease tonight for whatever reason, that pool would be shut down. It would not be able to operate. So it is imperative that it gets put into place, and then what's the time, do you know what the timeline is for how long the pool is actually closed to?
So we have put in the contract that they cannot close the pool until June 1st of 2025. They must have the pool open by September 3rd of 2025. because we are able to use the outdoor pool. So we're going to just shift those members across. So again, they are under a very tight timeline. They are going to try and do some roof work ahead of that, but we'll have to work that out with the schools because school will still be in session. But this will be, if this is not replaced and they go down, it is catastrophic to the facility.
This has been on the needs to be done list for 5 years because of the cost that we're looking at the financing, and we also took a while to have the schools agree to the 27%. And thank you, Mayor.
If it goes down sooner, can the project start sooner? Or
No.
the pool then is just closed until June?
It would depend on what the failure is. Right now, I will be quite honest with you, we are holding it together as much as we possibly can. There have been failures up to this point, but we've been able to recoup from those failures. And the reason the roof has to be done at the same time is because these pool packs are not the exact same that are on there now. Therefore, that when those come off, we need to rebuild the roof in order to sustain the new manufactured pool pack.
Yeah, the pool's 25 years old? Okay. And this is the first time this is being done.
Is city loaning the funds to the school district, school, or we are?
The city owns the rec center. The schools have a share agreement with us, and they're going to participate in this when we share energy costs as well. So
the city will encumber the full amount of it, and then the school will reimburse us in 2 phases. They will reimburse us one payment when the bid is awarded, and then the second payment when the project is complete.
And the rest of it's financed over the 25 years?
Correct. So because this is a fitness and recreation facility, they qualify for, I don't want to say special, but different financing than if we were to finance a fire truck. Police and safety forces only have 10 years to repay, but because it is a fitness and recreation facility, the payback period is 25 years.
And the bank finance it.
Yes. Any other questions for Jen?
Yeah, real quick. So the 2 million, so roughly the school's going to pay back 500,000,
Correct.
which would be
Rough.
25%, roughly, right? Is the diamond coating $280,000 included in the 2,075,000?
It is not. They are
That's in
2
it?
separate projects.
2 separate things? Last thing I have is, I'm sorry to go backwards, the grant for the, you got it,
East Idlewood.
East Idlewood.
Glenn Chamberlain?
Glenn Chamberlain?
Oh, let me, hang on 1 second. Yep, the grant for Glenn Chamberlain. So is the 938,000,
Sorry.
the total grant amount, or does the city have to pay in? Sometimes it goes.
So we had to have a project that was shovel-ready. We submitted that entire project to them. They will then determine what funds they grant.
Okay.
What they most likely do will grant the full amount, but it's a reimbursable grant. So we will pay out the $938,000 and they will reimburse us that.
Okay.
Should we get awarded that amount. Depending on what the award amount is, because again, it could be, their HUD dollars only go so far.
Right.
If we only get $500,000, then we have to make the decision as to what we're going to be doing with that $500,000.
Okay.
But it is a dollar for dollar grant.
Okay. That's all I have. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Jen.
All right, next is Jim Roberts, Director of Golf Maintenance.
Good evening. I'm Jim Roberts, Director of Golf Course Maintenance, and congratulations to the new members for joining the board tonight. This evening, we are requesting a purchase of a new fairway mower for the golf course, and if anybody doesn't know what that is the area of turf between the green and the tee that gets maintained on the golf course. We are looking to replace our 2003 fairway mower. It's exceeded its useful life and is recommended for replacement. The 21-year-old mower has mechanical problems and is equipped with old technology, and parts are starting to become discontinued due to the age of the unit, which is starting to affect operations. Some benefits of the new mower. Obviously, it would be a much more reliable machine for the golf course and a better cut as well. Easier for the mechanic to work on. Stocking of parts are similar with some of the other machines we currently have at the golf course, so inventory would be much easier for us as well to utilize those same type of parts. There's a lot less leak points and a better design than the current unit that we have right now. And also, there would be a possibility, even though we do have a 21-year-old machine, that we could get some sort of a trade value to try and get the cost down a little bit. And talking to some of the vendors, they would consider the trade. Not sure what that number would be. Also, longevity. We do all of our equipment repairs and everything in-house. We have a full-time mechanic. We are always trying to keep costs down as much as possible, being an enterprise fund. So we're also able to hold on to our equipment much longer because we do take such good care of it. And then, as Christina mentioned, this would be an item that is paid out of the golf course fund. So we do have that incorporated in our overall operating budget if this were to go through. With that being said, I'd be happy to take on any questions if anybody has any.
Last year, did you ask for this last year, too?
We did not.
What was last year's mower?
A T-mower last year.
Sorry, I got confused.
One thing about the golf course, and maybe that's different maybe and unique from other departments, we have several different machines that manage different areas on the golf course because each area
All I
is
heard was
maintained
mower.
If green
Just
mowers,
asking.
fairway mowers, and then mowers they do the rough in.
You
Correct.
get the T-mower?
We did.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, everything is running fine.
Does anybody have any questions?
Do you guys know when he says enterprise fund? What an enterprise fund is, the city, is when we have three of them. Correct me if I'm wrong. So the sewer, we have a wastewater treatment plant, okay? You get billed for that. You pay the wastewater treatment plant. So it's its own entity. It gets its money in, it gets its own capital. It runs as an enterprise separate from the city. Finance director still controls the money, so it's our money, it's just in a different account. In fact, if you ever looked at a statement of cash, which I have up here somewhere, all the funds, we probably have 20 different funds of revenue that bring in. The other two, our enterprise funds, are the fitness center, which encompasses the outdoor pool. Again, we take in revenue, and it basically, we would subsidize it if we don't break even, but if there's additional monies, they stay within that enterprise. So, and the last enterprise is the golf course / clubhouse, where we're leasing the clubhouse out to the A&M restaurant people, and actually, the mayor's worked on a new contract where I think we've got a 30% increase in the revenue we're getting from that lease. We take money in for we have probably the nicest practice area, and so it's very cost effective for people to pay to hit golf balls there, and they don't go out on the course. As well as we make money on golf carts now that we own them that are stored underneath the new clubhouse, and then the greens fees, and all that money stays within that, and it's running, I believe, even right now.
It's better than even.
Pardon?
It's better than even.
I said, okay, we're better than, so we're profitable. So 5 years ago, when you heard people tell us we're going to be broke when we put this clubhouse in, where actually all those revenue streams that we talked about have paid off, and we're making money on, now I play golf, so I may be a little prejudiced, but at the same time, we're making money on that entity. So, but those are the three enterprise funds that fall within the city. So they basically, it's like its own little business, somewhat separate, subsidized if necessary, but all the money is still Christina's. All the money is Christina's. So
Remember that.
So the purchase of this would come out of all of their own money?
Correct.
Okay.
So each of those enterprise funds, like Mr. Fury said, is supposed to operate like its own little business. Your costs are supposed to, or your revenue is supposed to cover your expenses. Now, again, the goal is to not have the general fund subsidize it, but obviously, like any business, some years are better than others. So far this year for the golf course, things are going well, but
Weather's always a factor.
weather is a factor, and you know, you always try to be tentative because we're in a great spot right now, but summer's going to be ending, so we don't know what the rest of the year is going to bring.
Well said.
But last year, we had people golfing in December, and this year they started golfing in February. So again, as long as the weather cooperates, the golf course is in good shape.
Golf course is in phenomenal shape right now. I play a lot of golf courses around here, and we are blessed to have Jim running the golf course. He really does a nice job.
Great shape.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, and lastly, we have Zach Huberbrand from the Information Technology Department.
Good evening, Capital Improvement Board again. So this project would actually replace all of our desktop computers. Right now, we have about 160 devices that are running Windows 10. Windows 10 is going out of, no longer going to be in support starting in October of 2025. So this would just allow us to start giving deploying the computers to all the different departments. So this doesn't just affect one department, it's actually citywide. So I just wanted to say all the desktop computers would be under a 5-year warranty, and then we secure government pricing with, we actually have a Dell Premier account, so that gets us about 45 to 50% off. Now, we'll be buying around, me and Don were talking about this today, we don't know if we're going to buy 160 on one time, or if it's a better price break if we split up the purchase, but we will work with our account rep on securing the best rate for that. I'm trying to, and then the only other thing I wanted to add was that when we put the Windows 10 computers in, they were actually installed in 2016. Now we've extended the life for 8 years because we put new solid state drives in them, more RAM, and as you know, everyone knows the need for technology just keeps demanding, and it keeps going higher, and we just have to keep the security updates in place so we can keep going. So. Do you guys have any questions on that point of it, or?
Are we selling the current ones?
So when that comes down to it, I always take the hard drives out. The hard drives then go to the police department, and then they would dispose of it in some type of manner.
The data.
I usually try to do the e-recycling. I've never actually tried to do the gov deals, the selling of the computers. We can definitely look into that. We have our service department runs that function. I can talk to Dennis about that.
It's not going to be top dollars, right?
Yeah.
If you take the hard drives out.
Yeah.
But it'd be better than zero.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally
Even
understand.
if you get $100 a piece.
Yeah, I know. Right.
That's 11,600. You know,
Right,
if I'm not
absolutely.
Wrong,
Right.
It'll save 10-20% off that cost. I think it'll
Right.
help.
Oh, I know. We can definitely look into that. That's not a problem. It's just in the past we haven't done that. When I was hired in 16, we were putting new computers in, so it was my first time doing a whole rebuild, a whole new refresh.
Like you mentioned, you upgrade the RAM, right?
Yes.
And you upgrade those things.
Correct.
City spend extra money on those equipments, right?
Yeah.
Particularly
yes,
just
correct.
for that.
That is correct.
Same
yes.
thing with the hard drives were removed, the motherboards, the RAMs, the fans, the voltage.
Right.
Those parts, I'm sure somebody will buy.
Yeah, absolutely. True.
And the quantity is very high, so putting all together, it should be a good amount of, small amount of.
Right,
chunks.
absolutely, right. And as you know, it can fluctuate. You know, we have 160 computers right now. We could have 165 by the end of the year, just depending on if we hire new
Yeah.
people, or vice versa.
And I think it's a good
It's
price.
a floating number.
$750 a piece
Right.
is not a bad price,
Right,
I think.
absolutely. And so, do you guys have any other questions on that kind of stuff, or?
Is there a benefit to desktops instead of laptops?
So the whole reason we have desktops is because all of our workforce works here at City Hall, and we don't actually have a hybrid environment because I don't like the devices coming outside. We want to be able to control them. We have patch management. We have other things that keep the devices safe and secure, being connected here locally. So, yeah.
I'm guessing this, what's the box called? Desktop?
Yeah, the desktop, yep.
Those are nowadays are very slick. You know, in our time, you remember, we used to have that big.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
are like-
No, they're
these
called
are
the
like-
small form factor now.
Tiny.
So, actually, Mayor has one of the newer ones, and it's maybe
Like, yeah.
5 inches. Yeah. So, okay. Anything else, guys? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Zach. All right, does anybody have any questions in relation to the presentations we've had today, or for Christina at all?
Christina, the only thing is, we didn't have that fairway mower information in our packet. And I think you had emailed an updated one.
I had emailed an updated one. Jim had so nicely pointed out that I forgot his slide, and he said, even though I only have one thing, can I get a slide? So I did email an updated one. So if anyone needs that, I can send it to you.
It was in the email.
It was in the email, yeah.
All right. So next meeting, we will have, I'm trying to group like things alike. So unfortunately, this was kind of the catch-all group. They went last year, so they got to go first this year. So next department heads who will be presenting will be Amy Moore for engineering. She will do engineering and infrastructure projects. Dale Steppenbacher is the building commissioner. Dennis Sidlowski will be presenting on service along with Fred Bissell, who's our fleet manager, and Nate Zieg will be presenting for wastewater. So all of our public works functions will be presenting next week.
All right. Thank you, Christine. All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned Tuesday, August 27th at 6:17 PM.